Welcome back to Your View, special edition with the Deputy President of the United Democratic Movement. You must have a view about what's been happening in the DA. A lot of people believing that it is, in a sense, unraveling or even imploding because of the whole racial or inability to tackle the race issue, but also, inconsistent messages on critical issues such as redress. What's your take?
Well, I think it's a difficult question for me to answer because the Democratic Alliance are sister opposition parties, and generally the norm is not to entangle yourself or get involved in the internal politics of another
party.
Yes, but up until they are honest to themselves about how to deal with the question of poverty and inequality in South Africa. And the fact that race is still a proxy for disadvantage and poverty in South Africa, up until they are honest about that issue, they are going to continue to implode. Not because we want that, but it's the reality of the matter. The fact of the matter is, I've said this thing many times, that implicit in the assumption that when you create an open opportunity society for all, you are going to be able to reduce inequality. Implicit in the open opportunity society for all vision is the assumption that the level of readiness among our people to take advantage of opportunities that such a society would provide is the same, when it is not the same. That's patently untrue. So the starting point is different even as you provide those open opportunity societies for all. So it means that then a leader has a responsibility to make sure that you make the policy interventions that will enable people, especially those who are previously disadvantaged and black, to access those opportunities. That's number one. Because if you don't do that, you will never be able to redress past imbalances. You will never be able to redress inequality. The fact that poor people in the country are black, right? The race of the people who are poor is black means that you need to come up with policies that deal with that issue. Now,
and are clear and unapologetic about...
Clear, unapologetic, you don't sit on the fence, you say this is our program for redressing past imbalances. Up until they deal with that and they have a frank discussion around this issue and are able to find a compromise, they will always experience challenges, because one of the issues that they keep forgetting, the growth of the DA now is in predominantly black areas, has been over the past few years. In predominantly black areas, they attract black people who are poor, who would expect that the political vehicle they have chosen, or they have chosen in order to advance their interests, would at some point respond to the objective realities that they face on a daily basis. Now these issues and contestation internally about policy issues around black economic empowerment, around employment equity issues, around transformations are going to be issues that they are going to face on a daily basis. But you also have, on the other hand, a specific constituency that probably supports the Democratic Alliance, whether they are white and to a large extent privileged, and also the business sector that would demand a certain policy slant in the party. So it's all of those issues. It's up to them to find a compromise. Maybe they should start being social democrats like us. They could be center-left and try to redress past imbalances, but while coming up with policies that make it conducive for
a lot of people nervous that with the return of Helen Zille, it was almost like, they are almost regretting that they went the route of saying, let us empower a black leadership so that we're able to attract more people. And then, of course, with the loss of votes to the Freedom Front, it's all looking quite disastrous. What would be the implications of an imploding official opposition to your project of realignment?
Of course. No, firstly, I think I have to look at it very, very selfishly, if you like. And the implosion, look, we're competitors at the end of the day. If they implode, it means there's an opportunity for parties like the UDM to grow their base, to try and capture the lost ground.
Members, they will look for a new home.
Of course. But in the broader scheme of things, we still need to find a way of ensuring that as the opposition bloc was still effective in the role, so that we're able to discharge our constitutional mandate. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree with at times the agenda of the Democratic Alliance, if I may put it like that, they have to a large extent been very effective as the official opposition.
Yes.
You must give credit where it's due. So we're saying, even if they implode, but they must understand their responsibility, especially in this current term, towards the South Africans who gave them the responsibility to be the official opposition. But in the broader scheme of things, you also need to consider the fact that as the official opposition, they to some extent have a responsibility to coordinate opposition parties in general. So I'm not too sure if they can do that while they're still absorbed with
their own
difficulties, on their own internal factional battles.
It raises a big issue of whether the race question has been neglected in the South African context. And I'm raising it because it's interesting how the UDM started, because the UDM actually started initially as a collaboration between the General and Ruth Meyer. And people were saying, now there's a South African party, it's not going to bring people together. There was a lot of excitement, about a party that could have a cross appeal, right? Do you think there's a space for a party like that still, right? Given that that message was in a sense appropriated by the DA in terms of one party for all and equal opportunity, etc., and also claiming that the most diverse party in the world, right? Do you think that there is a space for some that kind of conversation to be a precursor to maybe an establishment of another party that could take advantage of the cracks?
There is still space for a political party that would punt the non-racial message, building this non-racial, democratic South Africa and so on, in line with our constitutional values. But that party needs to be honest to itself and say that this notion of putting too much emphasis on reconciliation and trying not to talk about transformation is problematic. It must say the compromise was about addressing issues that had to do with reconciliation and transformation. But because the two could not be done simultaneously, right, they tended in 1994, the two objectives, if they were to be implemented simultaneously, they would have been mutually exclusive. You first want to gain the trust of people that these are intentions, and then later on, you start implementing transformative policies. But what happened is that we spoke about transformation and then left it along the way, because some of the leaders were captured and some of the people got lost along the way. It's a party that must put emphasis on issues of transformation as well, over and above just talking about reconciliation. Because if your focus is on reconciliation, it means that you never get to a point where you talk about issues that affect the objective reality, the material conditions of the people that we serve on a daily basis.
Do you think there's a lot of apologetic posture when it comes to issues of transformation in our society?
There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it because especially once people have done well and financially they are secure, then they tend to look down on those who are struggling and trying to climb up the ladder. I've seen many, once they're at the top, then they kick down the ladder, right? I've seen even in the past when I was still in the financial services sector, where once some of the leaders had been fast-tracked to the top of the ladder, in order for them to fast-track or to improve transformation, they were an impediment to the very same objectives.
They closed the door behind them, so to speak.
Yes, but also when we drop the ball here, we're apologetic and we're too divided on issues that have to do with transformation and driving an agenda that would improve the material conditions of our people. For instance, I sometimes say to my opposition party colleagues, especially the sister opposition parties that draw from the same constituency, that by now, as previously disadvantaged people, we should be clear about which objectives we're going to pursue in order to redress inequality, in order to address
and pursue together, because some of them are common challenges that are facing our constituencies.
Whenever we interact with our constituencies, the issues are raised on a daily basis, but we come here and we forget about them and prefer to talk about abstract and sophisticated issues.
What do you make of the new appointment at ESCOM?
Well, look, because we are a political home for all, because we believe in non-racialism as a party, we can't say because you are a particular color, you should not have been employed. The issue here is that if he is the best candidate for the job, considering what they're saying, number of people were interviewed, then he needs to prove to us, right, that that is the case. However, there is a trend in the public sector where all the Mr. and I've not seen any misfixits so far. The Mr. Fix-Its are perceived to be white. If it's broken, then you sort of reverse the gains and transformation that you've made by employing a white person. I suppose that is where this outcry comes from. When the post office was in a mess, we had to go and get a white CEO to try and solve it. You have ESCOM in a mess, you go and look for a white person. Then the perception you're creating is that those who are black are only good at messing
up, and then the white ones come and fix it.
Yes. That must be clear in some of the appointments.
But surely that's a wrong message that then has gone out there.
It's a wrong message because no one communicates what the real message is. Making an appointment without, or making an announcement about an appointment without articulating clearly the strategic direction of government and what we are seeking to achieve and why you have employed this person.
So it's been handled
then
badly.
You leave everything up to speculations. And look, we're opposition parties. We are going to identify and articulate all those contradictions in order for the public to make up its mind.
Out of the break, I want to talk about 2020 in terms of what would you say are the signature campaigns or issues and so on that we can expect from the UDM going forward, given all of the challenges we've discussed, your own capacity that's been weakened, your desire to re-strengthen the party, but also your minimal presence in Parliament. What are the signature things in 2020 that we can expect? We're talking to the Deputy President of the UDM as we reflect on 2019. After the break, we preview 2020. What should we expect out of the 6th Parliament as it carries on its work? Let's take a break.